Hello and welcome. Well, it's Groundhog Day. That sense that things that happen today will repeat every day till the end of time, practically until we change our ways, just like in the movie, and become better people. Well, if this day was to repeat, let's just take a look at some of the headlines. Not things that necessarily happened today, but are currently live, as it were, which is quite apt considering the first kind of weird headline I'm going to pick out. And I quote, "Man, 24, goes into hospital with World War I bomb stuck in rectum." Doctors in France had an unusual shift this weekend after a man came in to the hospital with an historic artefact shoved. Well, somewhere that particular historic artefact shouldn't have been shoved. Isn't that fascinating? Aren't people strange in the extreme? The article goes on to give some details, but I won't waste your time here with that. But bear that in mind when we talk about other things that are happening. In other words, note how, let's say, quirky people can be. And, well, here's the next headline. This is about Elon Musk. Musk's SpaceX applies to launch 1 million satellites into orbit. Yep, 1 million. The application claims orbital data centers are the most cost and energy efficient way to meet the growing demand for AI computing power. Traditionally, such centers are large warehouses full of powerful computers that process and store data. Musk's aerospace firm claims processing needs due to the expanding use of AI are already outpacing terrestrial capabilities. Wow. 1 million. It would increase the number of SpaceX satellites in orbit drastically. Its existing Starlink network of nearly 10,000 satellites has already been accused of creating congestion in space, which Musk denies. Well, of course he does. The new network could comprise up to 1 million solar-powered satellites, according to the application filed on Friday with the US Federal Communications Commission, which does not specify a timeline for the plan. Interesting. You would have thought it should have done. SpaceX claims the system would deliver the computer capacity required to serve billions of users globally. Serve them with what precisely? And I come back to something I've said before. Who is Elon Musk in the sense that he seems to be able to, well, he's already done it, 10,000 satellites. Who is this one person? Of course, he's not one person. Musk's real genius is in finding genius people around him and employing them and getting them to work and being the front person for his different enterprises, his different businesses. Some of them more successful than others. And yet, the clout that he seems to have, that he appears to have, is quite interesting, isn't it? One person. So who's behind that, really? What is going on, really? Is this all just Musk's vision? Obviously not, because he just wouldn't be given the go-ahead. There will be people who are set to gain from this. But what are they set to gain? And I think it's interesting. And certainly these interviews that I'm going to quote from are not from today. They are from, but they're relatively recent, over the last couple of weeks or so. You're going to hear in a moment from Geoffrey Hinton, regarded as the godfather of AI. So we've got this request for 1 million satellites to help us with AI. What's Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather, got to say about AI?
By having government regulations on it.
Because you told Faisal here before that you would compare this to the relatively successful Geneva Convention on the use of chemical weapons. The world can cooperate, but we're not in a very cooperative age, are we, Professor?
Yes, I think it's unfortunate that this extremely powerful technology is being developed and unleashed on the world at a point at which we seem to be moving towards authoritarian governments.
Well, I do wish I had understood earlier what I understand now. We could have developed safe AI systems. I think there are some weaknesses in the framework, which I can explain, but I think that framework could have evolved to develop actually safe AI systems where we could prove mathematically that the system is going to act in our interests. The kind of AI systems we're building now, we don't understand how they work.
We don't understand how they work. I mean, isn't that interesting? Doesn't it make you think a little bit of the Terminator movie? You know, when they go in and they try and stop the guy who creates the microchip that allows these Terminator machines and Skynet to come into existence that ultimately destroys mankind or tries to. It does all sound a little bit sci-fi.
No.
No what?
Well, if you know where it came from.
You know, I asked them that very same question once, and you know what they told me? Don't ask.
So here we are, Groundhog Day. If this level of madness continues, where will we be? And look also to the number of fake videos that are out there. Some of them kind of funny, but overall, generally, I find them annoying, slightly creepy in places, but deeply unsettling in the sense that it's getting harder and harder to tell what's real and what's false out there. And what's to stop governments using things like AI, tools like AI, to help them with their message and messaging? They've already done it. The White House recently, that photograph of a protester, and they had made it look like she was crying, which she wasn't, just to emphasize whatever message they wanted to emphasize. But it's not just them. So welcome to a brave new world. And in the sense that this is Groundhog Day, let's hope that some of the things that we learn to become better versions of ourselves is to put aside competition, at least to a degree, put aside the need to win and dominate, and work together to find ways, just like the Geneva Convention, to stop this stuff, this beast, ultimately, as it will become, if it hasn't become already, from subsuming the human race and making it ultimately not human at all.